Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Thanks so much for tuning in with us. We're super excited. I'm super excited because I get to interview one of my dear friends and business partners, Jodi. So my name is Alexis, but today we're going to kind of hear Jodi's story with Prove It and ketones and all things connected to that. So I can't wait to hear. I've heard it before, but I'm sure there's always pieces to it that we miss or haven't heard before. So anyway, so Jodi, you have been with Prove It for a year, right?
Yeah, it's been a little bit over a year. So that's just crazy to me. I feel like it's flown by.
Oh, that is crazy. And so Jodi is a mom of 3 boys and has an awesome hubby, and they live in New Mexico. So tell us your pre-ketone, pre-Prove It kind of story. Like, where were you at a little over a year ago before any of this had really walked into your life?
So I was actually in another company before this. So I stayed home with my kids. I've always stayed home with all of them. My oldest, Kobe, is 9. Our middle one is 7. And then the little one is 4. So when I started with that, I had little babies, and it was in the health and fitness world. And so I needed something to I gained 60 pounds with my last child. And if you've ever seen him in person, he's like a horse. He's huge. And he's like this much taller than every other 4-year-old. It's crazy. He's like the kid that's going to get his birth certificate checked at like games and stuff. So he's huge, but I gained 60 pounds with him, and I wanted to get back in shape. And so I started doing that, and then I kind of turned it into a business from home. At that point, though, I had been doing that for 3.5 years, and I was just at a different place in my life. Like, I wanted to go get out into the gym and have a trainer, and like my kids were all in school several days a week. I had my little one in school, and so it was like a different phase of life, and I felt like business-wise, I wasn't moving forward. I was exhausted. I think I was super stressed just because this thing that I had put all of my heart and soul into, thinking that it was going to be like the thing for me, was just not working. It wasn't, and it was failing. And I felt guilty for taking time away from my family to do it because it wasn't where I wanted it to be. And I don't know. I didn't have a whole lot of patience. I felt like when my kids were here, it was like I almost like resented them because I needed to be working on my business, and I didn't have time to do everything. And I was exhausted literally every day. I was taking a nap, and my dog is totally drinking in the background. Sorry. Out of the toilet, if you must know. I have to let her out. Go out. Disgusting. Okay. It is a clean toilet, though, I will say that. Anyways, I felt like my patience with my kids, felt like I wasn't enjoying every moment. I don't even know. Like, I was mad, and I was napping every day. And if I didn't get a nap, I was like the grumpiest person ever. And now I have a child in here. Hello. All right, go. This is Kobe.
Hello.
Hey, Kobe.
That's why she was laughing, because I was jumping in the background.
Yeah.
I was like, why is she laughing?
He was like going like that.
Okay, go on your walk. I'll be right out.
Okay, this is real life, people.
Yeah.
Dogs drinking out of toilets, and Camden says hi, Kobe. Anyway, so I just felt, I was just not happy doing what I was once doing that made me happy. And I don't even know if I really realized it. And actually, one of our other business partners, Kendra, asked me, have you ever thought about doing anything else? I was all, no, never. And her and I were kind of in the same spot. And then one night I feel like I was searching for something, but I didn't really know what, and so one night I saw her go live and start talking about these ketones, and she was drinking them, and she was all hyped up, and I had never seen her that hyped up. And I'm like, okay, I definitely am trying these right now. And so I actually found a local girl to get them from, because I didn't even want to wait for her to mail them. I was like, don't be mad, but I bought them from someone else, and I swear if I do this, I will buy them from you. But I had to have them. That's just my personality. I'm like, okay, I just felt something pulling me to them. And so I tried them that very next day I met some girl in the parking lot and got ketones, and I tried them that very day. And it like, I did Alexis's interview earlier, and she was saying, I almost was like questioning myself, like, is this just in my head because I'm thinking that I'm going to feel this way, or am I really feeling this way? But I felt immediate day one, just this surge of energy, my mood lifted. And I'm totally jumping to the next question. I'm sorry, Alexis. I just kept going.
No, you're fine. It's hard not to, because you just like get on a roll and then you're like excited and talking about it. But
yeah.
But no, and I just wanted to highlight too what you had said about, I think it's, you know, whether it's like, you know, you obviously you were in a different business before this opportunity, but like anybody can relate to like being in a position where you go all in on something and you like think that that's going to be like the end all be all, right? And then it starts not going the way that you thought or wanted. And it's like you're all of a sudden you're just so conflicted. And I think that like causes that, like, you know, that anger or that depression or anxiety or like whatever you were feeling, you know, just like, great, I thought this was going to be my thing, and now I'm feeling like it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's hard to admit that, you know, you put everything into something, it's hard to admit that. And so, yeah, I was definitely depressed. I don't think I knew it at the time. I think I was like in denial, but now looking back, I'm like, God, I was miserable to be around, like at this time last year, maybe a little bit before this time last year. So
yeah, no, I can totally relate to that. So yeah, we want to definitely know about like how the ketones have affected you from a product standpoint, like what it's done for you. But two, can you maybe like talk about, because I think a lot of times people assume that like because there's caffeine in our product that we're just feeling caffeine. Like what was it when you first drank that first one, or when you had your first couple drinks of ketones? Like explain the difference of like what you're feeling versus like just a cup of coffee and feeling like caffeine.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it is a big difference. And I tell my customers, they're like, is this just like a Red Bull? Like, is there a ton of caffeine? I'm like, no, it's about the same as a cup of coffee. So it's not a ton of caffeine. And the purpose for the coffee is to make those ketones work better and faster. But it's not this buzzed, cracked out feeling or something, you know, like you're going to go bouncing off the walls. It's more of just like this even keel, like peaceful energy. I don't know. Like, it's just like this calm energy. And day one, immediately felt my mood lifted. I felt my mental clarity. Like I was just getting so much stuff done. I'm like remembering, you know, with 3 kids and sports and school, and it's like, it's a lot. And I felt like, man, I really got my stuff together lately. Like day one, you know, it started that way. And my energy, I wasn't wanting to take a nap, which I was every single day. And then like 2 weeks in, I was noticing that I was going to sleep and like waking up the next morning without like waking up at all during the night, and just waking up feeling super rested. And I wasn't one of those that just lost like 10 pounds right away, or even really did it for that reason. I did have some like fluff to lose, but I felt more like, man, I just want to feel good. You know, that energy that I felt from Kendra, watching her talk about it, I was like, I just want to feel that. So I would say about 2 months in, I actually started noticing differences in my body. My workouts being better, my muscle preservation, like my workouts are working better. You know, I'm getting the results that I had been trying to get for a while, and I just wasn't anymore. But yeah, I tell people all the time, like, it's not like an energy drink feeling. It's just you just feel good and you have energy and you want to go do stuff and you're happy. And
yeah, it's weird how it, like, I love how you said it's like a calm energy. Like it's weird how it like calms you down, but in the same sense, like of calming you down, you're more energized.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, yeah. And it's like one of those things, like when you experience it, that makes sense to you. So for those that haven't experienced it and are watching this, like, I say just try it, because you can't understand it until you just try it. You just can't.
Absolutely. And like when you're saying like 2 months in, it was almost more of like, and I'm just saying this because this is kind of what I noticed, but almost more of like your body composition changed.
Yeah.
Like it's not this like, oh, I had weight loss. Like it's like this fluctuation of like, I lose 10 pounds and then I gain 10 pounds. It was like your body literally started to change.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I feel like everything did. And my husband too, like he, I can tell a huge difference. He loves them. He drinks them every day, and his sleep has been huge for him. But yeah, body composition, like I feel like, I do 3 hard workouts a week. I used to work out like every single day. And I feel like even just with food, like I don't crave the crazy things because I don't feel like deprived. I don't know. I just feel
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like a freedom in my fitness and my food. Like I don't feel like, oh, if I miss a workout or, oh, if I eat this, that all my results are done like I did before.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And I mean, that's like the beautiful thing of ketones is it does give you more freedom because you're putting ketones in your body and you're in ketosis without really having to stress about being in ketosis.
Yeah, that feels good. It's not this constant up and down thing.
Totally. And has there been any like benefits you've noticed like long term, like, or that you didn't notice after? I mean, I guess you said in 60 days it was when you really, but anything that like you can look back now and be like, wow, I actually have noticed a huge difference in this, but it took a while to see that.
I mean, I feel like my sleep's gotten better and better up until here recently, which I'll tell a little bit about that in a minute. But I think just looking back and thinking like this whole stuff's going on out there, guys. I do have a babysitter here with me though, so it's okay. But I feel like consistently over the last year, like I can look back and say like, I didn't feel the need to nap every day. Like when my kids got home from school, I wasn't like laying, like just like, hey, let's watch a movie. Like I'm up doing stuff that needs to get done. And like, that's been a consistent over the last year. So that's huge for me. It's not like an up and down energy in your life. It seems like you're either energized or you're like so tired, and it was an up and down thing for me. Like the only naps I take are just when I want to, like on a Sunday,
I can totally relate. Like on Sunday, I'm like, I'm just going to take a nap because I want to, not because I actually feel exhausted. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, that's amazing. And, I think sustained energy is like something that a lot of people have never experienced. Like it's a real thing. Like I think a lot of people are walking around like zombies and they don't know what it's like to not have to feel like that crash of like to be able to feel energized all day is just, it's almost bizarre.
Yeah.
This is such a hot mess.
It's real life. It's okay.
I love it. It's good. Josie, please no. So, okay. Last question that I have for you, and I think the most important one is obviously we have an amazing product and ketones have changed your life and changed mine, but how has the community of Prove It and kind of like the family that we have here affected you and your life and your family?
Man, that like, oh, that's a good, like, it's just crazy to think the difference in a year and just everyone that like you've come into my life, so many people that I literally could not imagine my life without right now, I just, someone's crying in there. I just feel like I am at home. I go to events and I don't feel like, oh my gosh, nervous to see people. Like, I just feel very comfortable with like who I am as a person. And I feel like this just sense of calm. Like I feel more present in my life with my kids, with my husband. Like I feel satisfied and happy with like what I'm doing every day. Like I have so many of the promoters on our team message and just say like, I can't believe this is our job. Like, this is so fun. Like, we're just literally helping people feel better and just talking about ketones and how much we love them and how much they've changed our life. And then we get to meet amazing people, and it's been huge. And 2 weeks ago, Monday, my middle son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and it was a complete shock. He was kind of like having symptoms of like a bladder infection. He was peeing a lot. And so I was like, man, I think he has a bladder infection. And I decided to go ahead and take him in. And they checked his urine, and the doctor came in and said, he has sugar in his urine. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? I have no idea what that means. And she's like, I think he's diabetic. And I was just like, what are you talking about? And so then she came back in and said, we're going to go ahead and admit him. And I'm like, wait. I'm like, so this is like a for sure thing. Like, I don't even know what's going on right now. So yeah, from there, they admitted him. His blood sugar was like 400 something. And it was just crazy. It was like immediately like game time to learn as much as I could possibly learn from educators and doctors on like how to take care of my son. If you don't know a lot about type 1 diabetes, I do suggest like looking into it. But my point in telling this story is that it's been the hardest 2 weeks of my life, like the hardest 2 weeks of my life, just a lot of overwhelm and worry. And I can just say like this community like wrapped their arms around me. Like everyone, like the CEO and his wife sent me like the sweetest, most thoughtful gift, like with games for my kids and just like the best notes. And yeah, like I just had like so many messages and so many gifts sent. My son had his whole hospital bed was like every stuffed animal from the gift shop. Like you could just see his little head because it was like animals everywhere. And just like I've never felt just so like supported, and it's been huge. And I honestly didn't know if I was going to get on this today because it's been hard on me more so than him, but he's just like such a brave little dude. And like I said, if you don't know anything about type 1 diabetes, like it's checking your blood sugar, poking his little finger like 5 times a day or more, giving him insulin shots, which can be 4 or 5 times a day. It will get easier and better. And, it's hard, but my child is alive. I know that the last interview with Tiffany, like, like I am so blessed and thankful that he's fine. He's alive. We're going to be able to take good care of him. And just being in this community too, knowing like the health benefits that we can help people understand. Like I've had him eating lower carb this whole last week, and it's amazing what it's done with his numbers. Like it just has brought my belief in like what we're doing so much more.
Well, and what's interesting too is that, in type 1 and type 2 are obviously very different, but like one of the main ways that type 2 is like the new kind of fresh way to treat type 2 diabetes is with the keto diet.
Yeah.
And I've read a lot about type 2 and keto, but obviously they have similarities, and there's things about them so it's interesting to me, like that you were like brought into this community, and just the way that like the universe like kind of puts these things into our lives, almost like it knew that it was going to happen to you, or like, you know what I mean? Like
I believe I believe God has a plan. Like I think everything, like, not that I would want to ever choose this road, but I do think that I feel like being like pulled to, to make a change and to do big things with the platform that I've been given, and to make a difference. And, if this is going to be my road that I'm supposed to go down, like I'm going to do good for it,
Absolutely.
So, and I know I have a huge community behind me that is like supporting that. So that's like been everything to me. And so.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so special because like to think of if you would have gone through this with him and not been a part of the community.
I can't even imagine. I was thinking that today. I was like, I feel like I would have like fallen apart.
Yeah.
Like, I really do. And not that I haven't had my moments that I'm just like, oh, like.
But you have that's a life-changing, if people don't know what type 1 diabetes, like that is life-altering, like you're never the same. So like you have every reason to feel like it rocked your world. But I mean, the fact that you're able to get on this call right now, and that, you really have bounced back. So I think quickly, I think you're doing awesome. You're doing better than a lot of us would. And I think the community probably has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I do, for sure. And it's giving me something to focus on, and not just feel sorry for myself. So, and for him, and, and just like wallow and So yeah, I don't know, someone's typing something. Anyways, but yeah, I could just go on and on about how grateful I am for everything, how everything has happened, and how I came into this community, and just for everyone on our team. So
awesome. Well, I'm just like, I feel so amazing and, honored to call you a friend, Jodi, and you're so amazing. And you are like, you always like strike me as so strong and like powerful, but it's also cool to see you get vulnerable, because I know that, we all have our moments like that, and it just makes me like love you and feel more connected to you. So you're awesome.
well,
And
I love you.
I love you too. So if anybody has any questions, I see that there is a question about ketones and autism, but we're not supposed to, really touch on any medical things or answer any medical questions. But if you do Google ketones and autism, there's a ton of information out there that you'll be able to find. So
for keto diet and autism, yeah.
Keto diet and autism, yeah. Lots and lots of stuff. But yeah, well, awesome. Thanks for sharing your heart and your story. And if anybody has any other questions, of course, reach out to Jodi or I. And yeah, you guys have an awesome day.
Thanks, Alexis.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Jodes.